27 minutes on to 7 o'clock. What a great song it is. So relevant. Relevant for me. I don't know about you.
Although my ship is a battered.
Yeah. Shake me, rock me, bend me, but you can't. You can't. Let me reiterate this. You can't break me. Because my anchor holds. Yeah. The music there of the Lady Judith Gale. Good morning, Grenada, to the world.
In spite of the storm.
Yeah. Mary Ebank says good morning. Good morning, Mary. So too does Sylvina Charles. Happy Monday to you, Innocent. Have an enjoyable day. I'll do my best. Walland Ekwat. Good morning, Mr. Joseph. Have a blessed week ahead. Thank you very much. I wish the same for you. Let your anchor hold today and take it one day at a time, because this too shall pass. Doesn't matter what the storms might be, it will not last forever. Princess Kwashi, good morning. Thanks for being in the house with us. Catherine Phillip, good morning, Innocent. Guess what? I'm in good. Wow. Welcome home, Catherine. Desmond Clovey says, good morning, new week, and everyone. Alison Thomas says, good morning. So to the Sharon Bartholomew. It's cold in Brooklyn, New York, yeah? It's warm here. Yolan Swan says, good morning to you, Mr. Joseph, and to all your loyal listeners. Yeah, good morning, good morning. How'd you do? Oh, God, boy. I wish I was in Australia over the weekend, boy. Wow. Yeah, that was a game. That was a game. From all indications, you know, West Indies was out of the book, as that former Australian guy says, you know, former Australian player says, you know, West Indies doesn't have the muscles. But we prove you wrong. Oh my goodness, that was a victory. And you know what? Shamar, what's his surname? He's a Joseph. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, don't mess with us, you understand? When you think you have us cornered, that's not the case. It's 24 minutes on to 7 o'clock. Celebratory mode, man. West Indies, West Indies, West Indies. And cricket, that game of glorious uncertainties. Morning to you early and all the way in the US of A. Good morning, wifey. How do you do? Nice. Reaching out and saying good morning to the folks at His Majesty's Prison, the commissioner and the entire team up there. Your inmates or residents, I like to call them residents. Yeah, they're residing at the Transformational Center, hoping to be reintegrated sometime soon. All right, let's get with it. Let's get with the program. It's time for the word of the day. Before I do that, I want to say, as I talk cricket, I want to say good morning to Kelvin out there in, that is Pomerose, boy. Yeah, miserable guy. Celebrating West Indies. You say he doesn't call my name. All right, you see, I called it this morning. Kevin, man, what's up? Peck and the guys, good morning. The All Fours posse. Debbie, good morning to you and the folks inside of Bacolet, Kitty Cat and family. The Sandersons, good morning. The word of the day today, it's an action word, it's a doing word, it is a verb. It's the word emote. Emote. Now, to emote is to express emotion in a very dramatic or obvious way. We can use the word in the sentence this way. He stood on the stage emoting and gesturing wildly. Morning, Pastor Laurie Dominic and the first family of the Wester Hall New Testament Church of God. Couldn't attend yesterday again as usual. Yeah, but say what? I've been there in spirit always. The entire congregation, good morning. Nice. 22 minutes on to 7. That is our time. Miss Valerie Farry out there in Windsor Forest. That's Windsor Forest of Vincent's. Guy, good morning. How do you do? Have a blessed day, the entire household. Paul and Barreto, good morning and congratulations to my hometown, St. Patrick's. Well done. Yeah, Finley Jeffrey coming back and taking the Independence Calypso Monarch at a very historic time. 50 years. Find the prize money should have be $50,000. You know what I'm saying? I one off, you know. Hercules, good morning, bro. How you doing? Congratulations to you also. Yulin Alexander says, good morning, Gordon. Good morning to everyone. Blessings to all on this marvelous Monday. Have a wonderful, safe day ahead, everyone. Stanford Thomas, good morning. Jillian McIntyre, good morning also. Michelle Bernard, good morning, Gordon. Good morning, Michelle. Miss Wally, good morning to you. She says, pray not because you need something, but because you have a lot to thank God for. Yes. Yeah. The thought of the day. Happiness is an attitude. We either make ourselves miserable or happy and strong. The amount of work is the same. Happiness is an attitude. We either make ourselves miserable or happy and strong. The amount of work is the same. Yeah, choose to be happy. Circumstances might not permit you to, it might be forceful, that's how life is. There are folks, remember, there are dream stealers and killers out there whose main purpose in life is to make your life miserable because they don't have theirs right. And they'll go all out to make sure that your life is miserable. Prove them wrong. Eggies, good morning, partners. And Flap and the guys. Buzzing this morning, Finley Jeffrey, congratulations. He is our new Independence Calypso Monarch. Yeah, their lineup in 10th place was Michael Prince. There was a tie for 8th with Serpent and Teacher Eddie. Big J came in 7th. Defending Monarch, Navy and Cox was 6th. Kithura George 5th. Papa Jerry 4th. Superstar 3rd. Baraka 2nd. And of course, the man of the moment, Finley Jeffrey the Scholar. I told him I love the song, and when I like a song, I mean it's good. The musical arrangement was awesome. Leston Paul. She's only 50, still young. Nice. Buzzing also, well, as I told you, Shamar Joseph, the star of the world for the moment, carrying West Indies to a historic 27 years, breaking that losing cycle. 27 years. West Indies did not win a test match. Not a series, and a test match in Australia. 7 for 69. With a broken toe and all. To all the naysayers for West Indies, listen, I just get upset when West Indies, there are times I say West Indies just know how to lose a match. They have a match to win and they just know how to lose it. But there are times when you expect them to lose and they just, I like the squad. I said that before. I like that the young squad that we have. I think with proper coaching and management, we can see the revamping of West Indies cricket. Let this not just be a fluke, all right? Also buzzing, Dwayne McDonald has been deported to Grenada. Yes, he is the 49-year-old businessman of Mount Pleasant in Carriacou, who was wanted by local police for questioning in connection with the May 2023 killing of Victor Randy McIntosh, who was also a resident of Carriacou. Well, he is now in custody of the RGPF. He was recently apprehended in Trinidad and Tobago and was deported to Grenada on Saturday, the 27th. He is currently assisting police with investigation into the death of Mr. McIntosh. So all energies are being, spent on making sure that Grenada celebrates, 50 years in a remarkable way. And, all the way you pass Buntins here, Buntins there, and so forth. Yeah, 50 years. Good. John Best says, good morning, Grenada and the people of Mountrich. Good morning, Mountrich. How's Mountrich doing? All right, nice. So, folks, it's 16 minutes on to 7 o'clock. We've got the AM edition of News, Sports, and the Weather coming up. And those of you who are on the television platform, we've got a rebroadcast of Friday evening's news. Magdalene Andrews says, good morning to my Grenada. Your birthday is coming up soon. Yeah, we're celebrating in fine style. Good, nice. Let me see what else is buzzing. Okay. Good morning. I have internet and Wi-Fi. I'm on Google on GBN Grenada and connected to K105, but it's not coming through. Why is that? Yesterday and now today, no K105. Congrats, West Indies, and wow to Shamar Joseph. Yeah, so says Heather. Well, he's a Joseph. He's one of us, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. If this is the first time I'm going to buy family, I'm buying that one. Saw a photo of him this morning when I got here with his family, young wife, and it seems 2 children. Just congrats, man. I can imagine Guyana when he gets back. I know he will be getting a big piece of land and house and money and everything. Yeah. So, folks, this is where we take the break. We've got the AM edition of news coming up. Stay with us. We've got 2 interviews with some local poets and a young upcoming Grenadian artist, and we'll be talking with both of them this morning, hopefully. We look forward to that conversation. See you on the flip side.
To help you to your feet, I'll be that beacon to your highest peak. Oh, I'll be right next to you, no, I will never leave. Come on, take my hands, we got everything we need. Cause you can look to me, yes, I can. Whenever you're in need, yes, just call on me and I'll be on my way. I'll be by your side, never to divide, the light that shines our way. Wherever you road leads, we'll make your dreams come true. Next time, next time, next time, right next to you.
Nexa Credit Union, with you wherever your road leads.
Good evening. This is GBN's News at 7. On Monday, January 22nd, the Inland Revenue Division, IRD, launched the Grenada Tax, or G-Tax, a modern and user-friendly digital taxation solution based on international best practices. This marks a new era and a significant advancement in the IRD's operational procedures, which will continue in a phased approach throughout 2024. Christina John has the details.
This new tax system, Grenada Tax, caters for taxpayers currently registered for value-added tax, pay-as-you-earn, and corporate income tax. Funded by the World Bank under the Digital Governance for Resilience, DG4R project, this process marks the start of a new era in the administration and management of Grenada's taxation system and is a critical pillar in the government's commitment to overall national transformation and, in particular, the digitization of the tax administration system and other government services to facilitate ease of doing business. This migration to digital processes will also facilitate the IRD's broader strategic shift from the traditional tax collection agency to a more robust and customer-focused division that will act as a supportive partner and educator to taxpayers. Deputy Controller at the Inland Revenue Department, Randy Cadet, provided details on the new tax system.
Where we introduce a subset of our taxpayer base to our new system, G-Tax. We will refer to it as Grenada Tax, for short G-Tax. So far we held 2 sessions where approximately 200 persons were in attendance, and we are scheduled to have another 2 sessions in the afternoon. I said subset because in this current phase, we are implementing only the VAT, the PAYE, that is pay as you earn, and CIT installments, the persons who are registered for those 3 specific tax types.
The implementation will be done in 2 phases, which Cadet explained.
The first phase, which is what we are onboarding right now, is only for taxpayers who are registered for the value-added tax, VAT, the PAYE, and the CIT installments. The other tax types, like the annual stamp tax and the personal income tax, those other tax types will be rolled out towards the latter part of 2024. So as I'll repeat that the other tax types such as PIT, EST, gaming, they will continue on our legacy system. We are not onboarding these tax types to G-Tax. So taxpayers can visit my.gov.gd, that's my.gov.gd, where they can conduct their usual filings and payments. Come next year, then all services should be in the G-Tax.
During the transition of the new system, taxpayers will enjoy a grace period to complete their full online registration with a valid email address. As part of the new digital system, a new taxpayer identification number, TIN, will be generated for taxpayers currently registered for VAT, PAYE, and CIT installments.
Right, so because it's a new system, every taxpayer will be required to find or to have a new tax number. So in the session this morning, we introduced our taxpayers to a site, we introduced our taxpayers to an email, and that email address is gtax@ird.gov.gd, where they are expected to submit to us a form, a validation form, and that form can be found on our website, which is ird.gd. So when the taxpayer goes on our website, they will see a form to validate their tax information so that we can use that information to validate that this is the taxpayer that I'm supposed to be before we issue them a new tax number. So all taxpayers will be required to have a new tax number to interact with G-Tax.
Christina John, GBN News.
Over a dozen high-achieving students from Grenada excelled at Western Illinois University, earning a place on the Dean's List. We hear more in this report.
14 students from Grenada made the Dean's List at Western Illinois University, WIU, during the last semester. These undergraduate students all attained impressive grade point averages, or GPAs, of 3.6 and over, with several achieving a perfect 4.0 GPA for the semester. The Grenadian students recognized for their academic excellence were Akeem Fabian Mitchell, Sierra Khalil Duncan, Noah Marcus Leslie, Rachel Kendia J.L. Bowen, Kendra C.E. John, Lenny Samara Mitchell, Carleen Kiana Alexander, Kamal Jonathan Arel Mark, Alia G. Knight, Laditra K.R. Mason, Shardell Rolanda Sinclair, Josh Michael Alexander, Shariel Raylan Bubb, and Whitney Christy Bowen. GBN spoke with Alia Knight on Friday.
Fall 2023 semester went really well. Transferring from an online student to an in-person student was an adjustment, but I managed to balance school, work, and having a social life. All of my hard work paid off as I obtained A's in all of my courses and was placed on the Dean's List for yet another semester.
Western Illinois University professors have commended the Grenadian students, who make up the over 150 students from the region, 55 of whom made the Dean's List. Dr. Mark Mossman, the university provost, also expressed his satisfaction with the academic accomplishments of the Caribbean students. He noted their success not only academically, but also in adapting personally to the challenges of the cold and snowy weather. Grenadian students pursuing degrees at WIU typically begin their studies online before completing them on campus in the USA. WIU scholarships are based on local college or CAPE achievements and covers a high percentage of tuition for eligible students.
Grenada's 50th independence celebration has allowed our local creatives to contribute significantly to this milestone. No stranger to patriotic pieces, Kendall Alexis speaks to our news team about his latest masterpiece and how it embodies the many aspects of Spice Country, Grenada.
For the past few days, locals and tourists alike were left in a state of awe by this beautifully crafted Grenada sign just outside the Esplanade Mall on Melville Street in St. George. GBN caught up with visual artist Kendall Alexis while he was attending to his craft. The talented Grenadian spoke of the inspiration behind his work.
Masterpiece was inspired by a friend of mine, Tony Pierre, on the theme for independence, and it seeks to bring out the vivid culture of Grenada. So as you can see, the painting consists of like a beach show vibe with the coconut trees, the cocoa, the steel pan cultures of Grenada, and also the Nefertiti Wells national dog. And the colors came together in a strategic way to transition properly to bring out the painting. And to me, creating this brought some joy that, that knowing someone could be inspired and, do something that they always thought they couldn't do. So basically, it's just inspiration and bringing forward Grenada's culture.
Alexis noted that most creatives in Grenada are not recognized sufficiently.
Upcoming artists are persons that would like to venture into art. I would say just go after your dreams, be stubborn to pursue what you need to, the things that you feel matters most to you in life, because on my journey it wasn't easy, it's still not easy, but always persevere and keep consistent. The key in every success story is being consistent.
Alexis is hopeful that more of these pieces can be done throughout the Tri-Island state as we inch closer towards our 50th anniversary of independence. Joseph Cador, GBN News.
10 enthusiastic finalists will be featured in Saturday night's Jubilee Independence Calypso competition. The show, which organizers say will be packed with lyrical content on nationalism, kicks off at 8 p.m. Here's more in this report.
Who will take the Golden Jubilee Independence Calypso crown? This will be determined tomorrow night when the 10 finalists in this year's competition face the judges at the Sater's bus terminal. The artists picked up their order of appearance for the show yesterday at the Grenada Trade Center. The event begins at 8 p.m. Here are the names in order of appearance as announced by Acting Chief Cultural Officer Adrian Mark.
The order of appearance for the 2024 Independence Monarch, the 27th of January, 8 p.m. at the bus terminus. Coming in first, we have Jason Joseph, Big J. Number 2, Nivian Cox. 3, Finley Jeffrey, Scholar. 4, Michael Prince. 5, Edson Francis, Teacher Eddie. 6, Sean Niles, so a serpent. 7, Keturah George. 8, Micah Joseph, Baraka. 9th, Jomin Simon, Superstar. And last but not least, Jerry Batiste, Papa Jerry.
Jason Joseph, Big J, will be the first to face the judges.
I think this 50th Independence competition will be a very good one. And I have no problem singing in position number 1. So for sure that because there are some big guns behind, so the barrier is going to be set at a level. I'm going to bring my A game.
All of the artists expressed optimism about winning the coveted title.
Happy to be in number 5. At the semis, I was at number 6. For some reason, I left home and I said, I'm going in the middle again, 5 or 6. And when I pulled, I saw 5. So I'm happy with that. And like Big J said, I will be bringing my A game. Oh, I would love to win that 50th Jubilee Independence Calypso Monarch. So I'll be gunning for it.
You see, I'm no stranger to the competition. I was there last year. I think I did a good account of myself last year. I'm back again. I think, as usual, I have a good chance of, capturing this golden crown, 50 years. Number 4, I think that's a really, really, really good number for me. To be honest, I don't like sitting back and waiting. I like to do my thing early and get rid of it.
A pleasure being a part of the cast for the 2024 Golden Jubilee Independence Calypso Monarch. I am just happy to be back on stage. I am honored to be around such an elite cast. And we are going to be putting on a grand show, and we want everyone to come out early. All the songs are about Grenada. Come support, come celebrate, come have fun with us as we celebrate our country. I am very, very confident in my lyrical content in my song. I think that it is a perfect synopsis of our history and speaks about most of what makes Grenada today.
First timer in the Independence Calypso competition, Jerry Batiste, Papa Jerry, will be closing the show.
First of all, I think that we have a cast of experienced Calypsonians here. I feel honored to be a part of this cast. Now it's my first time taking part in the Independence competition. I have to say thank you to the judges for seeing me as worthy, to be one of the competitors. My position, singing at number 10, I think is the best thing that could have happened for me, because then I would get a chance to see the first ball bowl. I would be able to review every performance so that I would know exactly what to do at the end of it all. And hopefully the first shall be the last and the last shall be the first.
Christina John, GBN News.
With preparations in high gear to commemorate the country's Golden Jubilee on February 7th, Member of Parliament for Carriacou and Petite Martinique, Minister Tevin Andrews, has urged his political adversaries to set aside their differences and join hands in building the Sister Isles. Opposition Senator Nolan Cox characterizes the government minister's call as being vague in this Nisha Paul report.
Minister for Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs,
Tevin Andrews,
issued the call as he reflected on a previous conversation with opposition Senator Norland Cox.
I am saying to you again, Senator Cox, on national television and in front of hundreds of people that are here, let us put down the political weapons and let us unite to build Carriacou and Petite Martinique together. When the election time come around, we'll pick it up back and we'll do what we have to do. But it's Carriacou and Petite Martinique first and foremost, always. And as leaders, if we can lead in that direction, then everyone else will follow.
Minister Andrews
made the remarks at the recently held Independence Church service in Carriacou. Senator Cox dismissed the government's minister's call as a mere political statement rather than a genuine effort to foster unity.
A call for unity must not just be a verbal one, but the actions must demonstrate such. And based on what I've seen, based on the call, his actions, they are contrary. Even while we were at the church service, he had a perfect opportunity to invite me to distribute pins, but he chose to, even after coming off the stage, he went and distributed pins he alone. I mean, both of us are the only two members of parliament that was there. There was a perfect opportunity to say, well, Senator Cox joined me to distribute pins. So he didn't choose that opportunity. He didn't use the opportunity to do that. So his action doesn't demonstrate such. And so, I mean, I don't believe he's a genuine one.
Cox further criticized the timing and venue of the unity appeal, deeming it as inappropriate to discuss political matters during an Independence Church service.
I don't think that the church service was the place for that. That is just my feeling. And not so much me, it's the people of Carriacou that he have to unite with. I have always been the one to work with everybody. So the issue is not with me. He have never brought any particular issue or plan for us to work together on anything. So just standing up and saying, let us work together without any initiative doesn't make any sense.
Meanwhile, as he addressed the church service,
Minister Andrews
expressed satisfaction with the unity displayed by residents of the Sister Isle to commemorate the country's 50th anniversary of independence.
We have a lot of work to do, mind you, and we may not always see eye to eye on everything, but we must never forget the mission and the purpose. It's about a beautiful Carriacou and Petite Martinique that we all want for the future generations to benefit from. So when I see the community, the villages, coming together in preparations for independence, beautifying the community to take the trophy for the best village competition, I'm heartened by the unity.
He further encouraged those who are not yet on board to join the unity train,
so that together we move forward as one people and as one Carriacou and Petite Martinique, as one Grenada.
For GBN News, I'm Nisha Paul.
In more news, the Leo Club of St. Andrew celebrates over 3 decades of service and commitment to the people of their home parish. To commemorate the achievement, the Leos have outlined a packed schedule of celebratory activities. Leo Salin Lewis spoke to our news desk earlier today.
Leadership, experience, and opportunities are a few words that comes to mind when we speak of the Leo Club of St. Andrew. On Sunday, January 21st, the non-profit organization celebrated 31 years of unwavering service and commitment to the people of St. Andrew. In keeping with this year's theme, 31 years of compassion, commitment, and community service, Leo Salin Lewis spoke on the roster of events to commemorate this milestone.
On the 21st, we had a church service in Grenville Pentecostal Church, and we're saying thank you to Pastor Andrew and the entire church for welcoming us. On the 25th, which was yesterday, we had an online symposium with Mr. Douglas, and trust me, Mr. Douglas, it was amazing. Today, which is our media day and also our fundraiser later on, we'll be posting on social media. Please follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and on Facebook. You can just type the Leo Club of St. Andrews, and we'll pop up. And later on at 5, we'll be having our fundraiser in the car park. We'll be selling drinks. We'll be doing raffles. So please, it starts at 5. After work, you can stop up there. Tomorrow is our karaoke Saturday in Twilight. We'll be singing away. We'll be giving out 31 free lunches to 4 different schools. So 4 different schools will be blessed with 31 lunches from the Leo Club.
Lewis noted that the club was excited to roll out its 2024 plans and looks forward to a fruitful year.
So we have a number of things planned, but what I'm most excited about is our annual distribution of condoms at the semifinals, so-called semifinals, and also the number of soup kitchens we have planned. But I'm not going to go into details for the other things we have planned. Just look forward.
Individuals wishing to contribute to the club's annual charitable drives can reach out to the team via social media at Leo's St. Andrew. Joseph Cador, GBN News.
Local playwright Francis Urias Peters is of the opinion that more interest is shown in the creatives now more than ever. The artistic director spoke to GBN about the return of the play Redemption Time. More in this report.
Artistic Director at Labukan Creative Center, Francis Urias Peters, said the return of the play Redemption Time is quite fitting at this time as it ties in with the observance of Grenada's 50th anniversary of independence.
And we just thought that we did it last October and played to full audiences at the Labukan Creative Center at the GCNA Complex, Kirani James Boulevard. And because we're celebrating a milestone, a historical achievement in Grenada's history, that's our 50th independence anniversary, we just thought that it was important for us to bring back this production. There'll be thousands of Grenadians here on island during this period, and we just thought that we will share the story. Because as a playwright, I always believe here that one of the most effective ways to teach, and even to teach history, it is through theater, through drama, through the arts.
The play, inspired by Grenadian history, is described as an epic, emotional and action-packed drama. Peters speaks to the composition of the play Redemption Time.
What I've done, even though it's set between that time, but actually it's a play which looks at how the two political divides of that time, that of the Eric Matthew Gary era of the GLP, Grenada United Labour Party, and that of the People's Revolutionary Government led by Maurice Bishop. It showed how those two political divides affected a working class family. Taking into consideration a lot of the activities that happened even during the People's Revolutionary Government. We have the invasion, the bombings, the fightings, but not a moment in that play is dull. From the time the play starts to the end, it's excitement throughout.
With more opportunities available in the creative industry, Peters is of the belief more interest is being shown in the creatives, where a wide array of talents are displayed.
Have a space technically for the performing arts, especially theater, dance and those things. We do not have that, and that is of paramount importance. And so we're celebrating 50 years, which is great. It's a great achievement. A lot have been done. Or again, a library. We need a public library. You need an arts gallery. All these things here. That's how the greatness of a nation is defined. So despite that, I think that we have to start really placing some serious emphasis, have a serious discussion, not just talk. You have to move beyond the talk, but we have to be serious engagement, because as you say, even for the education system, the arts and education go hand in hand, and I think this is the ideal time for us to concentrate a lot on that.
Piankita Saint, who plays the character Winston, echoed similar sentiments to Peters.
Definitely seeing a growth in the interest into the creative industry. I'm very, very thankful for it. I still feel like we need more, but to see the growth and I can definitely see the projection going forward, and I can see more young people taking advantage of the opportunity to view all these artistic creations that we have going on. And one of the things that stands out to me a lot of times when people come and see one of our productions is how impressed they are at the quality of what we produce.
Redemption Time will be staged this Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and on February 3rd at Labukan. Tickets are available at local ticket outlets or at Labukan, Kirani James Boulevard, St. George. Christina John, GBN News.
Grade 4 students of the Samaritan Presbyterian School share their creative side in celebration of Grenada's independence. It's time for the GBN ISA.
A good eye captures all. GBN ISA is brought to you by Clearvision.
Independence festivities continue. The younger generation seem to be playing a big part in the build-up to the celebrations. These grade 4 students of the Samaritan Presbyterian School use the colors of the flag to make several crafty items. These creations were part of the school's 50th anniversary celebrations initiative. We thank our citizen journalists for that submission. Send us your photo and video submissions via WhatsApp at 405-3052 or our other social media platforms.
Get ready to mark a historic milestone. It's the 50th anniversary of Independence Gala Cocktail and Dance, Saturday, 3rd February 2024 at the Crown Ballroom Radisson, starting at 7 p.m. for the all-inclusive cost of $500. All proceeds go towards the restoration of Government House. Secure your tickets now and be a part of history. Be there at the Radisson on February 3rd, 2024, hosted by Governor General Dame Cecile La Grenade.
Tickets available at Grenadian Optical, Melville Street and Grand Anse, the 50th Anniversary Independence Committee Secretariat on the Carronage, and online at gotofet.com.
On February 3rd and 4th, the Grenada Motor Club presents Grenada's 50th Independence Invitational Drags at Pearls International Speedway, St. Andrews. Come out to see our local boys compete against the fastest drag racing cars the Caribbean has to offer. There will be special entertainment from one of the Caribbean's top drifters and live performances from one of our local artists. February 2nd is the welcome party at Lavo Lanes. February 3rd, test and tune at Pearls International Speedway. And February 4th, drag race finals. Contact us at Grenada Motor Club 473@gmail.com. Grenada's 50th Independence Invitational Drags, February 3rd and 4th at Pearls International Speedway. This will be an epic one.
Get ready to witness the ultimate showcase of talent, speed, and determination at the 2024 Carifta Games. This prestigious event brings together the best young athletes from across the Caribbean, competing for glory like never before. With the motto, many people, one region, celebrating athletics, Carifta embodies the essence of Caribbean unity through sports, igniting a flame that illuminates the future of sports in the region. Don't miss out on this incredible event taking place at the Karani James Athletic Stadium from Saturday 30th March to Monday 1st April 2024. Get your tickets now at Grenadian Optical or visit gotofed.com and secure your spot to be part of this extraordinary celebration of athleticism.
Welcome to the conversation, folks. It's 16 minutes after 7 o'clock, and I've got with me in the studio, second time in quick succession, but meritoriously. I want to call him doctor. You know, I don't know if he'd accept that title, but he's a doctor in my mind. Mr. John Angus Martin. He is a historian, local historian, but he's got a wealth of knowledge of world issues. But this morning, we're talking primarily on the events leading up to Grenada's independence. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, and thanks for having me on again.
That's the pleasure. Is all. I want to learn, man. That book that you've given me, it's like my second Bible. It's, you know.
Glad to hear that. That's exactly why I wrote it.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, there are things that you reveal on Grenada that, although I'm a student of history, I've never gotten it so detailed. You know, a lot of people wrote on it, but just around it, but you got into the meat of the matter.
Right.
But this morning, we're not to talk about the book. We're talking about the events that led up to the independence of Grenada. Where do we start?
Right. That's a good question. We could always start at the beginning, but I think a good place to start would be the 1950s.
Okay.
I think 1951 is generally a good start.
Yeah.
Because we look at that as the foundation. We had just before that the return of Eric Gary to Grenada, the establishment of his union to fight for agricultural workers, to give them a voice. 1951, we see Sky Red. These are demonstrations by members of his union that led to protests through the streets of Grenada and also on the plantations and stuff like that. And then we have universal adult suffrage, where Grenadians over the age of 21 are given the right to vote regardless of any property qualifications and things like that. So we have these events that come together in the early 1950s that really change politics and governance in the Windward Islands specifically, but Grenada as well.
There was an incident, I think it was called Bloody Sunday and Bloody Monday.
Right, those are much later. Those are much later events and those would be the 1970s.
Okay.
Yeah. The events, they were part of the immediate events, and these were again protests by the opposition to Premier Eric Gary and his push for independence. There was a desire among the opposition that Grenada was not ready for independence, especially under Premier Eric Gary. And you see it in the news today. People are making allusions, I guess, of sorts that, they didn't want independence. I think that the thing back then was that people didn't want independence under Eric Gary because they felt that he was not the right person.
Yeah, you're trying to be politically correct, okay? But I'm going to say that based on what I've read and what I've learned, the opposition was saying Gary was corrupt.
Yes, among other things, dictatorial and so on. There was definitely that on that from the NGM in particular, New Jewel movement, even the opposition at the time in the early 70s. Blaise, who later became Prime Minister, he was the leader of the Grenada National Party, the GNP, which was the functioning opposition at the time. And he had signed on to, he actually went off to one of the meetings in the UK to talk about independence, but he later came out against independence on the Gary, and he had gotten like signatures saying Grenadians didn't want independence and things like that. But Eric Gary's response to that was, I'm sorry guys, but we just had an election in 1972 and I beat you guys at the polls resoundingly, so
the voice of the people.
We don't need a referendum or anything like that. Yeah. This is just you guys got licks.
Yeah.
Let's just move on.
The electorate put me in, so therefore that is their wish. But one of the things I found strange though is that we found established churches also was opposing to the independence.
I think some of it were larger issues that were going on in the society. I think the early 70s Black Power movement, Maurice Bishop had just returned from the UK. Him and people like Unison Whiteman, Teddy Victor, and all of these guys have become more active in community activism as well as in politics, and they were pushing for a different way to governance. With having just recently returned from the UK and the US, they basically were looking at, they saw Eric Gary as more in the old mode of leaders, Caribbean leaders, pushing for independence. They refer to it as bread and rum, I think, independence.
Okay.
Not substantial independence, that Grenada was not ready, because Grenada was the first in the Eastern Caribbean, or the small island developing states at the time, that really went for independence. They were the associated states. In the failure for a federation, when Jamaica left and Trinidad said 1 from 10 leaves naught,
0, yes.
and they went for independence. They tried in several unions. Little 8 was one of all of the Eastern Caribbean, the smaller islands, with Barbados. That failed. Trinidad had tried, Eric Williams had tried unitary state with Grenada and St. Vincent. That did not work out. Actually, Blaise got elected in Grenada because he was for that unitary state, because Grenadians were really interested in going to Trinidad at the time. Yeah. So, but then that failed, and Gary ended up winning the elections in '67 and basically pushed for independence beyond that. Not '67, sorry. Blaise was, he did get in. And Gary was pushing for independence. Gary was against associated statehood. He referred to it as a farce, that he did not feel that we should even have gone through that state, that Grenada should have gotten independence like Jamaica and Trinidad and Barbados at the time. So he was definitely pushing for independence since the 60s. Okay.
Now, in your own way and words, how would you describe the period from 51 up to 70, 71, 72, 73, and the eventuality of independence?
Right. I would say that's really, you see Grenada beginning to change drastically. I think if you look for the period before, you had Marichaud, who was laying the foundation in terms of representative government and things like that Marichaud pushed for back in the 20s. Marichaud was a representative for the Tongue of St. George after, in the legislature, and after universal adult suffrage, he was elected. But Marichaud was unable to bring the masses of the people together. Really, Gary was the one that was able to do that. But I think you have to see Marichaud as laying the foundation upon which Gary was able to stand and to move Grenada in a very different place. And you see that in the 60s, that back and forth between Gary, the GULP, the Grenada United Labour Party, and the colonial government. There's a lot of pushback against Gary. Gary was disenfranchised from participating in election and government for 5 years, because he had led a steel band through an opponent's political rally. So there were these different things. There's condomania, where he was accused of corruption, of buying, among other things, a baby grand piano for his residence at Mount Royal. So there were all of these things that were going on. This was all going on in the 1960s, with Gary pushing for more autonomy, more Grenadian focus for government. And there were a bunch of constitutional changes throughout that period that really pushed for more and more government in the hands of Grenadians, because the associated statehood constitution basically gave Grenada internal self-rule. We did not have foreign policy, and defense was in the hands of the British colonial government, but Grenada was pushing for more and more internal self-rule. And that was going on in the 1960s, and all of the politics was really centered around that.
Now, my question is, if the populace, it seems as though the majority were gravitating to Eric Gary, why was he at some point so unpopular?
Right. I think Gary derived a lot of his popularity from the agricultural workers, the poorer residents of the island, even the urban poor, who were part of his union. He gave them a voice. There is I guess we would call what would be of a meme back then. A lot of the women, the poor women, used to say, Gary, teach us to wear bra and panty. Showing that they really didn't have access to things, and because of the push by Eric Gary, that we see they were able to access, resources that they were never able to before. So I think he definitely had the following, and he did a lot for especially that community. But of course, the GNP, the Grenada National Party, that came into existence in probably more as a pushback to Gary from the urban elite. When you look at the members of that party and where their support came from. So some people saw Gary as an upstart, that he was even accused of being a communist, back in the 50s and 60s, yes, because he was seen as trying to disrupt the status quo. So people saw him in that vein, and they referred to 1951 Sky Red as a communist plot, to change society in Grenada. So it's interesting that a few decades later, a group of people who come in who have very leftist views, would come in and regard Gary as more of like a wannabe colonial in a sense, because they viewed him as wanting to just assume the place of the colonial in kicking them out, that he would just become, that he wanted to be part of the elite. That's an accusation that was put up against him.
Do you think that the mindset of Grenada has, right now, do you think it has any similarities to that of the 50s and 60s? Because I was speaking with a very prominent local businessman a couple of years ago, and we were in a vehicle driving, and I said to him, why don't you get involved in politics? He said, I wouldn't get involved in politics. I said, but what is your political persuasion? What do you notice? What is Grenada, like to dominate politics in Grenada? And he said, anybody. I would never forget that. I wouldn't call his name, but I know he's listening and he's smiling. He said, anybody that can seek the interests and be the voice for the poor and what we now call vulnerable people in Grenada will always dominate politics in Grenada.
Well, I think a lot of politics has been, especially now in this era, and it's not just in Grenada, across the globe, is very populist. We see it in America with Donald Trump. We see it in Eastern Europe, and if you can garner the support of a mass of people, because I think our society has become so unequal, and that's probably a similar situation to what happened in the 1950s, where Grenada was a very unequal society. We had a mass of people who had very little resources and even access to resources, and we're talking basic resources, health and education and things like that. People, the prospect of your children, being better than you in terms of the resources, the money that they can make or go to school and get an education that would propel them. I think some people feel a sense, of that today in that even though we have access to much more, but we still, the cost of things, our jobs, we're worried about those things. So a populace generally can play on those things, and some populists may be genuine in the way they appeal to people, but politicians find ways of engaging with the public. And if you're able to bring people across, if you're able to provide people not just with the promise of, but hope, of a better life, I think, and some politicians can play on that and take it to the extent where they become somebody like Donald Trump, which, people might question, But I think it is because there's so many people that I need, and our society, like I said, we thought we had gotten to a point where we were becoming a little more equal, but where that is threatened, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do have someone who wants to get in on the conversation, and it's important that we hear. Good morning, caller. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Folks, it's 29 minutes on to 8 o'clock. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be back after these messages. Don't you go anywhere.
Grenada Grenada, our beautiful pure island, is turning 50. And what better way to celebrate than with an evening that captures our heart, our spirit, our journey. Welcome to Up From Here, an experience of our past, present, and future. Join us at the National Cricket Stadium on Friday, February 2nd, as we revel in a spectacular showcase of Grenadian talent from our very own shores and from across the seas. Our artists are coming home to celebrate with us. Experience the rhythms that rocked our past and melodies that map our future. Live bands, sensational artists, dynamic dancers, all on one stage. And the best part, it's absolutely free. Gates open at 7 p.m. Showtime 8 p.m. Come early. Bring your family. Bring your friends. Let's fill the stadium with our pride, our joy, our unity. 50 years of music, talent, and creativity. This is our moment, Grenada. Let's celebrate. It's only Up From Here together. Stay connected to our social media pages for updates at Grenada Turns 50.
Oh, island in the sun. Look at how we've grown, how far we've run. 50 years we strong and more to come. More to come. More to come. We're going higher. 50 years we're blessed, we're forged in fire. Still reaching for more. Going up, going up, 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 up. Going up, going up, going up, 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 up. We're going higher. I'm a VIP. I'm a VIP.
I am a VIP. I am vaccinated. I am immunized. I am protected. Our children and nation depend on vaccination for immunization. Childhood vaccination is national priority. It is their protection from disease and sicknesses. Let's all be VIPs and safeguard our beautiful Grenada. I am DJ Blackstorm and I am a VIP health champion. Be a VIP like me.
Let's all be VIP champions.
A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs. Be a VIP childhood vaccination and immunization campaign in collaboration with UNICEF and the Pan American Health Organization.
The Planning and Development Authority of Grenada, PDA, is enforcing regulations to curb illegal, disorderly, and unauthorized development in several locations throughout the state of Grenada. The authority is concerned that structures mainly associated with vending are negatively impacting the environment, has undesirable public health and sanitation consequences, present obstructions to vehicle and pedestrian traffic, can become projectiles during adverse weather conditions, and generally affect the aesthetics of the nation. The PDA will work along with stakeholder ministries and institutions to effect the demolition, removal, and disposal of structures which fall in the category of illegal and disorderly development, commencing January 2024. In this regard, persons who vend in or occupy such illegal structures are advised to secure their personal belongings and have the structures removed ahead of the planned PDA demolition operations. These actions of the PDA have become necessary to safeguard and protect public health and the environment, ensure the safety and well-being of all citizens and visitors, discourage any future disorderly construction, and encourage compliance to regulations pertaining to physical development in the state of Grenada. This is a message from the Planning and Development Authority of Grenada.
Real Value IGA Supermarket has grown with the Grenadian community for the past 24 years, witnessing everyday acts of heroism, kindness, and dedication that weave the fabric of our nation. Today, we embark on a journey not just to celebrate our independence, but to honor the souls who uplift our community. We proudly introduce the IGA Golden Heroes of Grenada program, a tribute to 50 outstanding individuals, 25 contemporary community heroes, actively forging our future, and 25 Golden Jubilee heroes who have laid the foundations of our great nation. These heroes are the heartbeat of Grenada, from the police officer ensuring our safety, to the teacher inspiring young minds, from the nurse healing with compassion, to the bus driver connecting our communities, that farmer who gets up before dawn to harvest the crops that feed our nation, that sanitation worker who keeps our neighborhoods clean, and And now, return to you, Grenada. Nominate the unsung heroes in your life. The neighbor who's always there. The friend who inspired you. The family member who's made a difference. Visit Real Value IGA Supermarket or go online to submit your nomination. Let's celebrate the spirit of our nation.
Welcome back, viewers and listeners. Speaking with Dr. John Angus Martin, historian and author. And we have a caller. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Mr. Innocent. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Interesting program, Mr. Innocent.
Thank you.
So after all, that Innocent, you know the direction in which to go.
Yes.
However, it is very interesting in this conversation this morning that takes into consideration from 1950s come up to today. So you're looking at, 70-something years, if my memory corrects.
Yes.
But as of independence, we're in 50 years. Anyway, the interesting thing here at our celebration of our 50 anniversary of independence, 50 years, is that, as a gentleman said a while ago, what caused the leading up to that process of independence and to where we are now? After 50, 20, 70, after 70-something years, where the administration or the seat of power, if you want to put it that way, or the management apparatus shifted. So you shifted from external to internal. But here what is more interesting, after 70-something years, what we've taught or what we have seen as wrong or ill 70 years ago, 70 years later, that same thing is repeating itself. My question, what has happened or what it is that caused, remember you have cause and effect, what it is that caused that kind of situation to arise? Is it one, the mentality of the people? Two, they don't really want independence? Or three, they were interested in power? Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
Right. I would say, thanks for the question. I would say a society is constantly changing, going back and forth sometimes. We do have a former prime minister's saying forward ever, backward never, but sometimes society goes back and forth as we look to how we move forward. So politically, I think if you look at the last 50 years, especially of independence, we've gone through a lot of growing pains, tremendous, even compared to some of the other islands in the Eastern Caribbean. When independence came in, it was pretty violent, and we saw what the revolution and invasion and all of that kind of stuff. So I think our society is constantly evaluating, and hopefully this 50 years will allow us to do that as well, that it is a time for reflection, that you look back, and we do that in our own personal lives. You get to a certain point in your life and you're like, you take stock and look and see where you've been and where you want to go. So I think that will be something that we need to do as a nation. Our leaders need to do as well. And I think one would think that our leaders are constantly doing that, taking stock of where we are and where we need to go. I think anybody that decides to run for office would have that on their mind.
Okay.
It's like, where would we take the country? So I think it's something that we constantly reevaluate as we move forward. And I think that's what some of this is about. I am part of a subcommittee on history and heritage, and we're holding different discussions with different groups of Grenadians all over, trying to get Grenadians' view of where we are and where we want to go. So I think that is something that we're supportive of, I think, as a country,
right.
Of making that conscious decision that we need to discuss where we've been and where we want to go.
As we wrap up this segment, right, how would you advise the Grenadian people as to how important it is for us as a people to look back at where we were and look at where we are and note the importance of it in terms of going forward?
Well, I think, there's that old cliche, if you don't know your past, you don't know your future. How can you grow with not knowing where you're coming from? So I think that's, it seems a little trite, but it's the reason we use it as a cliche or a meme is because it does have a meaning.
All right.
So I think it's imperative that we look back and like I said, maybe not just the last 50 years, because the last 50 years didn't just happen. It's built upon our entire history.
Right.
We have to go all the way back, to the Kalinago and their society and how the invasion of Europeans, came and basically genocide against the indigenous people. They're not indigenous people in Grenada any longer. Where did they go? So we've had this violence, colonialism, slavery. How has that impacted that history? Like I said, it's good to go back to 51 because we can see a direct connection to independence and things like that. But when you look at our society in
what got us to 51?
What got us to 51, and even some of it still affects our society today. Okay. When you're talking about, the caller talked about a certain mentality, where did that mentality come from? So looking all the way back is something that has to be part of the process. But how could you look back if you don't know?
Right.
So I think an important part of that is the education, is the learning about that history, learning more about slavery. I think we know a lot of things about slavery in the Caribbean and in North America, but do we know a lot about the specific institution in Grenada itself?
Okay.
And how did that affect us, and how did all of these different things, Fedon's Rebellion and all of the different events in our history, how did those things affect us? The immediate post-emancipation period. How did that lay the foundation for our society, for poverty, for our drive for education today, and things like that? So I think it is, for me as a historian, I'm totally passionate about the role that our history has played in our life and will continue to play. It's not and sometimes even if we don't know it. Okay. Ignorance is not
not an excuse.
No, it's not, and it's not. We're not going to be blissful about it if we don't know, because it behooves us to know what that history is if we want to make changes to the present and the future. And we want our children and grandchildren to be aware of that and about the journeys we have taken. That's what history is the journeys. We have to find ways of retelling them or telling them from our perspectives.
All right. So we have to know.
Yes.
Dr. Martin, once again, thank you very much for joining me on the program this morning, and we look forward to more engagements as we sensitize and heighten our people's awareness of our history.
Thank you very much.
The pleasure is always mine. Okay. Folks, we'll take a quick commercial break. When we get back, we talk with one of our local poets on his contribution for Independence 2024. We'll be back after these messages.
And so it begins. A journey like none other. Every moment has the potential to be unforgettable. Bring home a piece of the tropical green forest with every emerald. Capture the sparkling light of flawless water in a diamond. Make the sunrise and sunsets last forever. With precious colored gemstones, the essence of happiness is in our most precious memories. So when it all comes to an end, bring home something that will last forever. Colombian Emeralds International. Bring home more than a memory.
Agritech Limited Grenada is your one-stop shop for all your farming needs. We provide seeds and seedlings, pesticides, fertilizers, irrigation and water management systems, veterinary products, and a wide range of agricultural products and implements. Our staff is knowledgeable and ready to serve you. Call us on 435-9677 or 440-4460 or visit us in Happy Hill, St. George. We are open Monday to Saturday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays, 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. Agritech Limited Grenada. Come grow with us.
Get ready to mark a historic milestone. It's the 50th anniversary of Independence Gala Cocktail and Dance, Saturday, 3rd February 2024 at the Crown Ballroom Radisson, starting at 7 p.m. for the all-inclusive cost of $500. All proceeds go towards the restoration of Government House. Secure your tickets now and be a part of history. Be there at the Radisson on February 3rd, 2024, hosted by Governor General Dame Cecile La Grenade.
Tickets available at Grenadian Optical, Melville Street and Grand Anse, the 50th Anniversary Independence Committee Secretariat on the Carenage, and online at gotofet.com.
This is 50 years of Calypso excellence as Made in Grenada presents Calypso at 50, featuring Unlucky.
I must go back, my little island is called.
The original inspector. Flying Turkey, Lady Cinty, Smokey, Peter Humphrey, Randy Isaac, Woodsman Kelly, Squeezy, Scholar, Black Wizard, and Chamo, and the Hitman Inspector. One stage, one night, Sunday, February 11th, 6 p.m. sharp at the Grenada National Cricket Stadium. Tickets are $50 and are available at Grenadian Optical, Town and Grand Anse, Mitchell's Wellness, Grand Anse, St. David Pharmacy, Maxis More, and St. Andrew Pharmacy, Calico, Sates, Shizemore, Licks and Bites, and GoToFed.com. The hits,
Tell you that, Inspector.
the classics, the performances as Grenada celebrates 50. Sponsored by Flow, Brighton and Miners, Antillean Group, Spicyle Auto Rental, Wayne Mitchell, Glenelg, Springwater, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenada Distillers, makers of Gladscott Rum. Sunday, February 11th, 6 p.m. Grenada National Stadium. This is 50 years of Calypso excellence.
Celebrate Grenada's 50th anniversary of independence at the St. Paul's Independence Extravaganza on Sunday, 4th February 2024 at the St. Paul's Community Center, featuring Solid the Band, Flying Turkey, Eugene Gittins and the 473 Band, the Culture Train String Band from Carriacou, Jab King, Tamara Songbird St. Bernard, Lisa McDonald, Jay McDonald, Shireen Brizan and Matthias Williams, Conception Dance Theatre, Core Bank Comancheros, Chain, Lion Pride Percussions, House of Creation Veco and more. Special guest appearance by PBC Choir. It's a fusion of food, music, arts, craft and all things Grenadian, and all the action starts from 12 noon. A production of the St. Paul Sports, Cultural and Development Organization in association with the National Organizing Committee. 50 and going strong.
I love my Grenada, my homeland forever.
All right, good morning, folks. It's 9 minutes away from 8 o'clock, and I'm joined at this time by my good friend Anderson Richardson.
Yes.
Yes, he is a local poet. We've had interactions before, and he's got a great contribution for Independence 2024. Tell us about it. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning to our listeners. Good morning, Mr. Innocent. Good morning, GBN.
Yes, good. Tell us about this poem.
So the idea really came from last year's Independence theme, which says the journey to 50. And I said to myself, why not write something that really represents that journey? Grenada back then, Grenada where it is now, and where is Grenada heading? Something to reflect that, something to bring awareness, something to sensitize, something that our younger children, our younger generation, and even adults, some persons who may not know where we came from and where we are today. That kind of thing.
And how difficult was it to pen that?
It wasn't difficult at all. I was actually on sick leave a day, and inspiration just started flowing, and I just started to write.
Okay. Yeah. And this time I noticed that you've gone a step ahead and you've recorded it. All right. Let's take a listen to this one, Journey to 50.
Yes.
Let's take a listen. Anderson Richardson.
The Journey to 50 by Anderson Richardson. From humble beginnings she came, surviving through much hurts and pains. She depended heavily on agriculture as one of her main food pillar. Being first colonized by the French and later the British, was ceded to Britain by the Treaty of Paris. She was called Conception Island by Christopher Columbus, an island of mineral wealth and its inhabitants ingenious. Grenada gained her independence in 1974. That milestone that allowed her to glow. February 7th should be inscribed on every Grenadian's heart score, for the reign of colonial rule is no more. Her fertile soil and lush green vegetation can be seen throughout the entire nation. The warmth and resilience of her people, building again from the rubble. Being shattered by Hurricane Ivan in 2004, many thought that this island will be no more. The level of destruction was so bad, but thanks to her people who worked real hard. Great nation builders were nurtured by her. The world now hails that great superstar. Out of the ashes, she continued to rise, the home of nature, a beautiful paradise. A tropical climate filled with lovely beaches, the home of wildlife of many species. She boasts of oil down as her national dish, the pride of the Caribbean, every tourist wish. Happy Independence, Grenada, and may God bless you. For people talk, but few can walk in your shoe. Your level of resilience is beyond imagination as you continue to move forward to the next generation.
Wow. Inspirational at its best.
It has been a great piece.
Yes.
It has been a great piece.
What has the response been thus far?
The response has been very overwhelming. I mean, I was surprised. Never really thought that persons would have been receptive to something, like that. I mean, it's independence. Persons, there is that kind of national pride. There is that kind of sense of identity. But I never thought that the reception level would have been so great with such a piece. Yeah.
And being the poet that you are, do you get, because I've just interviewed Dr. Martin a while ago, a local historian, and I had the privilege of having one of his latest publications, which captures the history of Grenada, in-depth history. And he's on a drive to sensitize Grenadians as to the importance of knowing the events that brought us here, where we are as a people.
Yes.
And how important do you think that is?
I think that's very, very important, because there is a saying, there is a cliche. He who fails to learn from his history is doomed to repeat it. And so you must know where you came out in order to know where you're going. You must know what you're building on.
So you think it's critically important?
It's critically important.
Okay. All right. And do you get the opportunity to visit schools and do presentations in schools and so forth with some of your pieces?
No, I have never had the opportunity to present my pieces to any schools.
Okay.
No.
All right, but do you look forward to that?
Of course I do. I look forward.
Because there's a drive, as Dr. Martin was saying earlier. It's important that we as a people embrace our history. And I think it's about time. I've been advocating for that for quite a while now, that we teach our history in schools.
We need to.
People don't know basic things about Grenada. I mean, it's only after I got his book I realized how much I didn't know.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
But in order for us to, this I call myself an old man, so looking futuristic for my grandchildren and so forth now, I would like them to get a better appreciation for Grenada's history, because they are the ones who are going to be making leadership decisions in the future.
Exactly. And if we don't pen those things to paper or put them somewhere where our legacy will live on, they would never know.
Okay.
They would never know.
Never know. I'm so happy to say there was another gentleman who does similar things to you, but he does it in song. Oh, and he, for some reason, unfortunately, he couldn't make it this morning. But I'm happy to see a young cadre of people like yourself getting involved in documenting our history, whether it's with the inclusion of music in the background or what, but the information is there.
Yes, it is. It's there.
I want you to, we kind of press for time and so forth, but I want you to, in your own way, encourage the younger folks, especially the school children, to get involved, get into the research mode as it relates to knowing what Grenada was and what Grenada is now, and what Grenada could become. So use the opportunity and encourage them.
Very important. I wish to say that our creatives, in the various capacities that we function in, we need to have more opportunities for them to visit schools, to create that kind of awareness, and to start a drive amongst our children and young people in becoming writers, authors, maybe of their own book, writers of their own songs. And with that, then we will see our culture being sustained, and we'll see our identity remaining, even though, there's the impact of technology and so on, but that's how we're going to remain Grenadian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Anderson, once again, kudos. I know you can't come here and not, tell the world the support that your wife and family give.
Yes.
So it's important that you do that, because I want you to go home peacefully this evening.
Good morning to everyone. Good morning, wifey. Good morning, everybody that supports. And I really appreciate the support, getting me to the level and stage that I am now, and hoping to move forward from here.
Okay. All the best. And
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
Yes, folks. That's it for the conversation this morning. Those of you who participated, we did not get much interaction from the audience, but thank you for being there. I know that you are there, and it's important, especially now that, we do this sort of interviews, that it will tease people to want to know more. Get our local history books, do some research, Google stuff, learn Grenada. Like I said, having purchased that book from Dr. Martin, and reading through it, I can't read it through its entirety as yet, but there are things that I did not realize that I didn't know. Know your history. I love you. Thank you. Bye-bye for being part of the program. That's it.
The Journey to 50 by Anderson Richardson. From humble beginnings, she came, surviving through much hurts and pains. She depended heavily on agriculture as one of her main food pillars. Being first colonized by the French and later the British, was ceded to Britain by the Treaty of Paris. She was called Conception Island by Christopher Columbus, an island of mineral wealth and its inhabitants ingenious. Grenada gained her independence in 1974. That milestone that allowed her to glow. February 7th should be inscribed on every Grenadian's heart score, for the reign of colonial rule is no more. Her fertile soil and lush green vegetation can be seen throughout the entire nation. The warmth and resilience of her people, building again from the rubble. Being shattered by Hurricane Ivan in 2004, many thought that this island will be no more. The level of destruction was so bad, but thanks to her people who worked real hard. Great nation builders were nurtured by her. The world now hails that great superstar. Out of the ashes, she continued to rise, the home of nature, a beautiful paradise. a tropical climate filled with lovely beaches, the home of wildlife of many species. She boasts of oil down as her national dish, the pride of the Caribbean, every tourist wish. Happy Independence, Grenada, and may God bless you. For people talk, but few can walk in your shoe. Your level of resilience is beyond imagination as you continue to move forward to the next generation.